We are talking luxury today. Is it worth it? What is it? And in this video, I'm not referring to the beautiful sunset, the smile your dog gives you, or even the cup of tea or cup of coffee that your partner brings you in bed. No, I'm talking about expensive things. Welcome to my channel. I'm Andri. Today's video we are discussing luxury and is it worth it? But before we get into all of that, I invite you to subscribe if you haven't already. Once you're there, you can press my bell and a thumbs up is always very much appreciated. Make sure you've got your favourite beverage at hand. Cheers! Sit back and enjoy. First question, what is luxury? Let me give you my definition of luxury. It's simple. My definition of luxury is having something that you don't actually need but is expensive. Now, expensive means different things to different people. I'm talking about expensive for me. That's what makes something luxury for me. But with that, I look for quality. I look for that visual feeling, when it makes me feel good, the experience, all of that is luxury for me. Now, when I'm talking about luxury in this video, I'm referring to branded goods. I am talking about Gucci's, Chanel's, Louis Vuitton's, Armani's, Hermes. That's what I'm referring to in this video. Now, I like to categorize these things. I put them into levels. I know a lot of you are going to disagree, but this is how it works for me, and I'll explain why I put them into these levels. Now, I'm talking about the more common brands in this level. I know there's a lot of other luxurious brands that we don't hear about so often, you know, like the Joda Dubai brand, which has all, you know, the shoes with the diamonds on it, you know, Graf who do diamonds and all of that. I'm not talking about those really, you know, out of reach brands. I'm talking about kind of, you know, the Chanel's and the Hermeses that we kind of see all the time on YouTube, basically. That's the brands I'm referring to here. Now, let's go back to the levels. And I tend to have like 3 levels that I put the brands in. Now, the first level is what I call the entry level, and this is where I began my kind of designer collections and kind of got into designer things. Now, for me, the entry level luxury brands are things like Gucci, Armani, Dolce & Gabbana, Burberry, that kind of thing. Okay, those are the kind of, and there's a few more as well. Now, my second level is going into brands like FENTY, Louis Vuitton and Christian Louboutin, for example. And these are kind of on my second level because, you know, they have their starter entry level pieces, their classics. They have all of them for me. Then I have my top tier, and for me is Dior, Chanel and Hermes. For me, that's the top tier, and that's how I categorize them. For me, because Chanel have their classics and they are a more expensive brand, Hermes, their Birkins and so on and so forth, and that's how I like to put them in tiers or levels. That's just the way I like to categorize them in my head. Okay, that's how I deal with it. That's how it works for me. So, you know, for example, Gucci has now become a very trendy brand. Their pieces are very trendy. That's not for me. I'm not willing to pay all that money for a bag for it to date. You know, for example, when I buy a Chanel bag, it doesn't date. This bag is the same style. It is timeless. So when I'm paying that amount of money, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that's going to last for years and years and years, and I can now pass down from generation to generation. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm not going to spend hundreds upon hundreds on Gucci that is fashionable, that's got hearts on the back of it, that's got all these snakes, or whatever the design is. I'm just not willing to do that. I'm over that now. I tend to not use bags now until they're done. For example, before, when I used to buy my Gucci bags, I would use them until they were done. I suppose I'd get my money's worth out of them. That's not what I'm into anymore. For me now, luxury is buying a classic and it doesn't devalue. It goes up in value. Basically, that's what I'm looking for. That's my luxury. Okay, so that's my levels and how I categorize the different brands. Now, what makes these brands luxury? Quality, heritage, the story behind the items, the history behind the items, the service, although I expect good service wherever I go. And all these things could be argued, but you know, things can always be argued and people always have a different view. But this is what, for me, this is what represents these luxury brands. And of course, they're expensive. They are highly priced, but they are expensive because they are distinctive. When you see a Cartier bangle, you recognize it. When you see a Chanel classic, you recognize it. When you see a Birkin, a Kelly, you recognize it. They have their history, they have their heritage, they are distinctive, and they are timeless. More importantly, they are timeless. They will not age. They will not, you'll not look at that bag. By looking at a bag, a classic flap, you don't know if I've just bought it this year, last year, or 10 years ago. That makes it very important to me. And of course, what makes these brands so well known is that, you know, you see celebrities wearing them, you see the royals wearing them, you know, you see all these people wearing them, kind of well-to-do people, and it makes the rest of us aspire to having them. You know, when I buy into a brand, when I buy into these things, I'm not just buying the handbag. I'm buying the whole thing. I'm buying the experience. I'm buying how it's making me feel. Now this brings me on to, are these luxury items worth it? Now let's take individual items, for example. Let's take this trendy. Now, is this trendy worth its price tag? It isn't. The materials in this bag are probably 8% of the cost of what we pay. But like I said, you're not just paying for the materials, you're paying for the whole package. So is this bag worth it? For me, yes. For what it gives me, yes, it's worth it. But that's something each person has to ask themselves. Each person gets something else from adding these items to their collection. It could be for status, it could be for the craftsmanship of the items. What you quite often hear when we see some of these YouTubers and they unbox bag after bag after bag, you quite often hear, oh, I wonder what's missing in their life, and they have a need for all of these endless unboxings and bags. You quite often hear that said. Some of the YouTubers, you will hear them using the excuse that these products are more ethical because they last for years and years and years. But then on the other hand, we've quite often heard that these brands burn excess items to keep the value up. So how is this ethical? Anyway, that's just some of the ideas I'm throwing out there today, just for discussion. I would love to hear your thoughts on luxury. Do you buy luxury? What does luxury mean to you? Now remember, we're talking about brands here in this video. I would love to hear what you've got to say on this subject. Let me know if you've enjoyed the video. Meanwhile, if you would like to see more videos from me, I'm going to link one here, and if you're not already subscribed, just press the A right here, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Cheers!